One of the things that often sets the PDA apart from their fellow autists is their predilection to withdraw into fantasy and/or role-play. But if we look more closely, we can see that this behaviour isn't as unautistic as one might think. Self-stimulatory behaviour, or stimming, as it is more colloquially known, is commonly viewed as an individual's method of safeguarding themselves from overstimulation or understimulation, and is a highly prevalent ritual throughout the autism spectrum. But stimming isn't only used to counter intense physical sensations. It can also be effectively used to counter intense emotions as well, such as anxiety. And this is what I want to focus on now. Withdrawing into fantasy could be seen as a very elaborate mental stim, where a non-PDA autistic might flap their hand or withdraw into themselves. The PDA confects an alternative universe to which he or she retreats whenever the real world proves too unbearable. This isn't to say that the PDA isn't prone to more common forms of self-stimulatory behaviour, such as hand flapping as well. When the PDA feels a little anxious, hand flapping may be all that is required for them to cope better in an unpleasant or distressing situation. If the PDA feels very or extremely anxious, however, hand flapping may just not be enough to offset the PDA's high anxiety levels, and this is where withdrawing into fantasy can really come in handy, as it can immediately transport the PDA from an intolerable situation and into another of their choice, of their doing, and of their preference. This is but one of the most magical things about being both autistic and imaginative at the same time. The PDA despises linear, monotonous living and seeks to dismantle social norms at every turn. When they are in a space in which they feel most free and comfortable, then injecting their quirky and otherworldly mental landscape into the space in which they are situated is of no trouble to them whatever. They, more often than not, wish to share it with those around them. If they are in a rather dreary, formal or mundane setting, however, such as at a wedding or in a classroom, then they will feel further incentivized to behave in the opposite way that is expected of them, through silly, albeit creative behavior, as the rigid and unspoken implicit demands, i.e. the expectation to behave in a certain way or conduct themselves with decorum, have to be challenged and opposed. The PDA loves a challenge and loves to get what they want. The temptation to transmogrify a formal situation into that of a more chaotic nature is irresistible to the PDA. Perpetual confusion is no stranger to the PDA. When those around them are as confused as they are, the PDA feels a little more relaxed and on the same level. After all, the PDA instinctively levels or equalizes their environment and is always on the lookout for threats or protrusions in the otherwise level plane. Demands don't have to be spoken. Many exist in immaterial form, such as the implicit demand to, say, wait patiently in the waiting room at the dentist's. Oh no, the PDA doesn't wait patiently in the waiting room at the dentist's. They do quite the opposite. The abyss between the PDA and an authority figure has to be extirpated. An attitude alone, devoid of any spoken demand or instruction, can be demanding, as it implies hierarchy or separation, to which the PDA is allergic. The PDA is intolerant to being ignored, which therefore stands to reason why authority, in the form of a parent or doctor, say, are often issues of magnitude, as the PDA feels ignored insofar as the abyss between them and another exists. That is to say, an authority figure doesn't even have to say anything, as the way they present themselves, as the PDA's superior, is demanding enough already. The PDA may try and directly salve themselves from this pain by challenging authority. the authority figure has failed to acknowledge the PDAer for who they are. Therefore, it's as though they are directly assaulting the core of the PDAer. Therefore, the PDAer will proceed to inflict the same fate upon the authority figure. But the PDAer is just as, if not more, likely to withdraw into fantasy or take on a different role. The role of the dentist, for example, which immediately restores the balance that the PDAer loses following their fragmented sense of identity being under threat. So, while hand flapping is a way of coping with reality should it become stressful, withdrawing into fantasy is the ultimate stim, as it is the total negation and rejection of reality, which leads the PDAer to create a totally new world of their own, a world that salves them from emotional pain and restores the balance, but also a world that is creative and pleasant and maybe even nonsensical, just the way the PDAer likes it. One cannot help at this point quoting Alice from Alice in Wonderland, when she says, "If I had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense. Nothing would be what it is, because everything would be what it isn't. And contrariwise, everything it is, it wouldn't be. And everything it wouldn't be, it would. You see?" Thank you for watching. Allow me to take this opportunity to mention some potentially exciting news. Following my successful book launch and event last month, there has been high demand, ironically, for me to take the event to other parts of the UK. I am therefore pleased to announce that the PDA experience is coming to Cardiff, Wales, and will take place on the 13th of April at 11 AM. If you are interested and want to purchase tickets, or if you would like to know more, then please follow the link in the description below. I hope to see you all there. And if the location is too far for you, then worry not, as I am currently in the process of organising for the event to take place in just about every other part of the UK. So stay tuned. I hope to see you there. And finally, the next time I make a video, I will be accompanied by my dad, aka the Beast, for those of you who have read my book. So if anyone has any questions for him, please ask away. Bye for now.